Welcome to Pro Confessional, the video series where I, Stephen Leonard, recount some of the stories from my 25 plus years in marketing and communications. In this first ever installment, I'm going to be interviewing myself. It's actually my 2004 self, and I'll bring him in now. Stephen, welcome. Thank you. You know, no one actually calls me that, right? Well, things change, my man. So you're looking good. You don't. Why is your hair so gray? Yeah, you know that you're just becoming me, right? Listen, we could play this game all day long, but we're here to talk about the India incident. You remember that, right? Well, I don't think we'd be talking about it right now if I didn't. Great. So apparently I was kind of a jerk 20 years ago. Anyway, let me set the stage for us. It's the summer of 2004, and you are working on the Olympic Torch Relay, OTR, leading up to the Athens 2004 Olympic Games. So the agency that I've been working for has been hired by one of the two OTR sponsors to handle its events marketing for the relay. And I think it's probably okay to name them. After all, it has been a while. Yeah. So I've been hired by Tula, which is an agency based in Atlanta, and we are working for Samsung. We're going all around the world in the first ever global Olympic Torch Relay. We started in Sydney in late May, and now it's June 10th. It's late at night, I'm kind of tired, but we just brought the flame to Delhi, India. And how did it go? Well, you know how it went. Yeah, but still, please recount. Well, basically, our Samsung team, as well as the Athens Organizing Committee, or AFOC, activation team, and co-sponsor Coca-Cola, we fly around the world in two 747s, touching down in different cities every day. And we run the flame through the city, with crowds usually cheering the torchbearers all along the route. And we have our own vehicles that precede the flame. Since Samsung isn't flying a fleet of vehicles around the world, we have local activation teams that have their own branded Samsung vehicles and a bunch of local crew and events marketing staff who, under our guidance, hype up the crowd, maybe throwing out freebies, dancing, adding to the fun. I remember, it's a huge party, and you get to be in the middle of it all. It's amazing. I love it. But there are always things that come up, like today. So we get to Delhi early in the morning from Beijing, and right away I see we're going to have problems because the lead truck for Samsung is, and now I'm quoting from what I just wrote in my journal, is a monstrosity of a thing, probably 30 feet high. And the route we're going to take is laden with low-lying tree branches, electrical wires, and banners. I actually start I start the day in the second vehicle, and I'm just watching this behemoth as it rambles down these narrow streets. It's so big that it has guys on top of it whose job is to just push the branches and the other stuff away with sticks as they pass under. And AFOC is rightfully concerned, and they tell my boss, Pete, that we should move the truck to the back of the entire relay caravan so we don't cause any trouble and delay the flame. Pete tells me to switch with him. Thanks, Pete. So now I'm sitting in the cab of the truck with like 6 other guys. And the guy sitting next to me, whose name is Rambi, seems to be the one in charge of the truck. He's directing the driver to continue down the relay route, but eventually AFOC contacts me by radio and tells me to get off the route entirely and meet us at the end of day celebration point. So you have to understand that this is a delicate spot to put me in because the people from Samsung are also on the radio telling me I need to keep on the route. They want as much visibility as they can get. I understand that, but they're not seeing what I'm seeing. Sooner or later, we're going to bring an electrical wire down in the street and potentially cause serious harm to a parade goer. So, do I anger my client or do I defy AFOC? In this case, I make the call based on the best information I have. There's a potential danger that's being caused by my truck, and I need to get us off small streets as fast as possible. If we can find bigger, clearer roads and get to the celebration site safely, I think it's worth it if Samsung ends up missing a bit of signage and activation along the route. Plus, we still have the other vehicle ahead of us, which isn't causing any trouble. The only problem is that I'm not driving this truck, and I have this guy Rambi telling his driver to keep on trucking. Now, we have AFOC's motorcycle team riding up alongside us. They're banging on the side of the truck, yelling at us to get off the route, but Rambi will not have the guy stop. Finally, though, the truck stops at a traffic light, and I jump out of the cab and just put myself directly in front of it. I just stand there. I figure they probably won't run over me, right? Right? Of course, the guys in the truck are all screaming at me at this point, and I'm screaming back. This Indian standoff goes on for like 10 minutes, and finally they pull the truck off the route. They even let me back in the cab. We keep yelling at each other for sure, but I also radio Athok, and I ask them if we can get back on as the lead vehicle in the caravan, if we can find a spot to safely reinsert. They agree, and Rambi finds us a spot where the rest of the route is clear. And we finish in the lead the rest of the way to the celebration site. What I remember was all the guys in the truck were speaking, I guess, Hindi and laughing at me, while on the radio I've got Athok yelling at me the whole time. It wasn't a fun day. I'm exhausted. But so, old man, I have a question for you. 22 years more wisdom under your hat. What is there anything you would say that I should have maybe done differently? Well, I think you probably yelled too much. So our boss, Pete, was always so impressive to me because he remained calm in all those crazy situations that would inevitably come up during the relay. So you're also going to meet another boss a few years from now, Rob at Continental. Same thing, always the picture of calm under pressure. And so what do both of these guys have in common? Well, Pete studied at Naval Academy, and Rob went to West Point. So, maybe that training helped them learn how to deal more calmly with trouble when it would come up. And obviously, we didn't go to military school, so we don't have that training. But that would be my takeaway: is try to find a way to remain calm, even if you've got six guys screaming and laughing at you. You need to keep your cool. And I would also say, though, at the same time, you sometimes need to fight fire with fire. You have to stand up and give the client pushback, or even your colleagues pushback in the most respectful manner possible. So yeah, I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong to be yelling back at them, but maybe just try and find a cooler way of approaching the situation to begin with, and just keeping that in the back of your mind, like, okay, channel Pete, and try to figure out a way to handle things more calmly. You're right, old man. Now listen, I got to hustle. Our plane takes off for Cairo in a couple hours. Wait till you see what happens in Cairo. Wait, what? You'll be fine. Okay, so that's a wrap on this first edition of the Pro Confessional. Thank you, Stephen, from 2004, for being my first guest. And I hope you liked it. I hope you subscribe. Please do. And next time, I'm going to be talking to my 2001 self. And we're going to be discussing an event from my first OTR and how Muhammad Ali threatened to knock me out. So until then, I wish you well, and I thank you for watching.